bulk oil, storage and transportation, tender package number GR GD 0009 2022. So this was the tender type nil. Contract type single sourced. Lot is not there because of course it's single sourced. Furniture and fittings for a new head office building. That's the tender description. Approval authorization ATC/PPA. Justification 41B agency. Contract date 1st August 2022. Delivery completion date 22nd August 2022. Contract currency USA dollar. Contract award price the figures is in 997,262 and
it's US dollars.
Yeah. Hey, Charlie. For chairs.
Awesome.
Contract awarded to Antares Trade Ghana Limited. Company email 0. Company address Garden Road, East Legon. Company telephone nil. Supplier nil. So that's what we have there.
Yes.
For boss.
Yes.
Interesting. And I thought that we agreed as a country that we're not going to quote, dollars for such contracts and et cetera, et cetera. You remember that we said we were not going to quote in dollars, that all transactions were going to be in CD. So how are we quoting so much? And you asked a very legitimate question. We couldn't wait. We had to go into a single source
under an urgency clause.
Well, the chairs had boss broken already, so that we needed to quickly get some to replace. I'm concerned. I'm worried. And you see, the notice doesn't sound good, or it doesn't sound right, especially when we have the likes of Kennedy Agyapong all over now talking about how monies are being stolen and taken out of the country. He said the MPP is looting, right, and stealing the money and taking the money out of the country. He said, but he will say everything. And then he adds on right after that, of course, to whip up the youth, that when the youth are unemployed, there's a certain narrative out there already that he is feeding the people. And people think that he's the right guy to feed the people. Then you hear all these things coming up.
He's not the only person who has even said about looting.
It's a problem.
Dr. Amakuba, NPP leading member, shall I say, he was on Ghana Tonight on the 27th or so.
He wanted to be president. He wanted into the showms of
he said, and I quote, he says, he was talking about the party. He says, we are dishonest. Everybody is looking for money. We have stolen all the money. I'm quoting him here. I listened and I wrote it.
Part of the people who stole the money.
I'm just quoting what he said here. So
we have stolen it.
He says we are dishonest. Everybody is looking for money. We have stolen all the money. He was referring specifically to the happenings in the NPP party. This is the second person that I've heard saying something along the lines of, we have looted, the money is gone, the money has been stolen.
Yeah.
This is Kennedy Agyapong also saying the same thing.
Right.
Should we be looking into these claims?
We should. As a matter of urgency, we should, because if we don't take care, we will be in trouble one day.
Or is it like others are alleging, if it's they say you are bitter or you are scorned, and that's why you are coming out with some of these.
But how bitter can a person be to the extent that he wants to destroy something that he wants to lead? It's a question. How bitter can you be to the point where you want to destroy what you want to? Because what Kennedy Agyapong wants to lead the NPP as its flag bearer into the 2024 elections. So the logical question to ask is, why is he saying all these things that will come back to hurt the party that he's going to lead? So if he becomes the flag bearer of the party, and then what? How would he repair this damage? So it goes beyond just seeking to destroy.
It's important that we recognize the fact that we are in democracy, but it doesn't stop us from questioning what is going on in public institutions, sometimes even in individuals' lives, individuals who are politically exposed. If you look at how Singapore got to where it is today, that's the attitude that the Prime Minister at the time, Lee Kuan Yew, had. And some of the quotes that he would say, look, I'm often accused of interfering in the private lives of citizens. Yes, if I did not, had I not done that, we wouldn't be here today. And I say without the slightest remorse that we wouldn't be here. We would not have made it economic progress. We would not if we hadn't intervened on very personal matters, who your neighbor is, how you live, the noise you make, how you spit, what language you use, what we decide is right, never mind what people think. So the system should be such that, I mean, elsewhere, you're a star like Ronaldo, Messi, they've gotten into trouble with the tax system, because they looked into their tax, if you like, situation. So if BOSS or any other organization is doing A, B, C, D, it doesn't matter whether there's an MPP man at the helm of affairs. We should be able to enter the space there and see what's happening. Because if we all say that, if you say, they will say, you are NDC, MPP, so, and it's a democracy. Who said democracy means we shouldn't check each other? We check each other per the law.
That's right.
That's what we should check each other, but within the law.
Fidelity to the law.
Yeah, exactly. And so if Agyapong is just bashing his own government, for me, if it's within the law, he's asking for us to check A, B, C, D, and he's looking at the law. Because democracy is not just what we do, but what we do according to the rule of law.
That's right.
But in our democracy, we think that, what happened in PNDC time, they were hunting politicians, those same politicians who were accusing the military regimes of hunting, they go and see where they live. I keep saying that thing. Just this morning, I was driving past one politician's house. From wall to wall, look at the distance, just one person's place. And so if we are questioning how somebody is living, now Guta says that GRA shouldn't come and check their members. You see, according to law, that's an interesting thing I want us to discuss.
You see, they will have the impetus to say those things because
now, if you get if you take the taxes from the people, how do you use it? Because they will also be angry if money is sitting under beds and stuff like that.
They will be,
so we should be questioning each other to get the things done.
To that point. But you see, Guta and the spare parts, dealers,
right?
They specifically put money together. You remember? To push the MPP into power. They did that. They did not stop there. Then they further reduced the prices of spare parts
their commodities
on their own.
Just to make
the government look good. They were then in opposition, just to make them look good. When they came into power. So in opposition, they put monies together, the spare parts dealers at Abosokai, and give it to the MPP as their support to their campaign. Then when 2017 Akufo-Addo came to power, the spare parts people reduced the prices, right? So people were happy and all of that. So today they are singing a different song.
So they are not expecting the same government that they literally
to be squeezing them in the way that
go that way. It will not
because
work.
in their minds they are being squeezed.
You see?
So tax mobilization and tax utilization, that conversation is important.
Yes.
So they are paying the taxes. They go to the ports, they pay duty, demurrage, this, that. Then they come back, you come and collect the monies. And if you go to Abosokai, at night it is dark. The roads are bad. I lived at Abosokai, so I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
It rains, it floods the place, it gets into their wares. They always have to come and dry their things out. So imagine you are selling an engine, and every time there's dirty water that has come in there, you have to spend another money to flush it out and all of, because you sell it. It's metal. So the more you put water on it and you don't grease it, you're looking at it rusting and all of that. They are looking at all these things. They're asking, did we make the right choice? That's where they are now. They are no longer in denial. Because over the past 3-4 years, they have been in denial. But now, reality has hit them proper. They say, Charlie, we won't allow you. But William asked the question, you won't allow them. What does the law say? The law says that GRA is the mandated body to rake in cash, mobilize cash for the government. So wherever GRA sees a business and thinks that this business is fit to be taxed, they will come to you and categorize it and tax you.
They're doing their job.
The next leg is that when GRA collects the monies and they put it in the consolidated fund, how is it used so that the people at Abosokai, the people at Kokompe, the people at Swami Magazine, the people in all those places also see that this is our share of the national cake that GRA came to collect money to go and help the nation to bake for us. They are not getting their share. That's why they are making those noises.
Well, as for the interventions by the GRA, absolutely necessary, especially where we find ourselves. I'm not saying that we've waited up until where we found ourselves between a rock and a hard place that we're seeing some of these intensive mobilization efforts happening, but that's where we are. The fact that you reduced your prices and put money together in support of government doesn't mean that when they empower, they can't put the necessary measures in place to recoup the monies that we need. As a nation, we desperately need every single cent and penny. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised at anybody who's annoyed this morning having to pay taxes on nearly everything. And then you hear mobile phones being bought at premium prices, furniture procured under emergency clauses. What was the emergency at such high prices? Allegedly, I don't know whether the decimal point in this particular documentation is correct. So that's why I've said, in case there's a decimal that's been moved into a different place. That's why I'm saying allegedly. So all of those things make you think, what am I breaking my back for?
Figures. So they'll come and tell you that there was an error in the figures. That
what am I breaking my back for? People enter places of power. I can't even speak, and they dip their hands into the coffers as if it's a pocket money change. It's everybody's money to do with as they please.
Anyway.
Technology. Now I'm going tech. Yes. Now chairman a Colombia. Why incubator? It will 4,000x a day, and the machine is 30,000 cities, and he has nobody to promote his business. I've asked them to bring that guy. I'll give him 1 million to start producing at least 33 such machines. We can do it. For Ghana, because of the system, no. Every level in them, no. I want Juma Womuja. See, it means no one point, no more baha. It means a change. Engineering. Assembly plants on wine. Over the farm magazine for Kokompe for and normally assembly plant. And no natural say, Ghana. The system no idea. Now you promote to Ghana. We can take our destiny into our own hands. I'm a man with a vision. I'm ready to sacrifice my life for Ghana to make Ghana a better place for the youth of this country. Let's see your picture, Ghana. Come on. Now, what you want to say? Montier. Conferencia English for me. Oh, 2020. 2016, wouldn't go somewhere because I was in Ashanti Region. 2020, Mama Ashanti Region. How many votes? And I'm losing. Okay, I'll be all good party. And I want to win it, I'll be want to be anybody who will MPP party. And then me, I'm who I'm making, and I need good party, no. But no money, I will a winner, and I will do good party. My young child, I will do good party, no. May catch it over meetings, over coming up. I have it. Over mistake. There'll be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Dentist and ophthalmologist.
An eye. There's a saying. They say an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind.
Yeah, and a tooth for a tooth. So he's a dentist and an ophthalmologist at the same time.
Wow. Talking about these iPhones and all the public officers, I think the Commissioner on Human Rights and Administrative Justice is making a call that everybody must listen to. It's in respect of the Public Officers Bill, the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, and the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2021 to help fight against corruption. So that now we have to define who a public officer really is. So that if you attempt to give money to a public officer, they are even suggesting that you get between 12 and 25 years, just making an attempt to bribe. And then you who receive also go in for so that the whole fight against...
I think William, I think that honestly, our fight against corruption and our definition of things is just pretense.
Exactly.
We pretend. Look, are we suggesting that we don't know who a public officer is? So CEO of Kolebu, he's a public officer.
Yes.
So he knows that if he takes a decision that doesn't inure to the benefit of the people of Ghana, he's in the wrong lane.
You see?
He has taken a decision of that nature. He's in the wrong lane. He has not apologized. He is rather explaining to compound the issues. And I keep showing the receipts and showing that, boss, you have been telling lies to the people. What else are we waiting for? What other law are you waiting for?
You see,
We're just hypocritical, that's all.
That discussion becomes interesting when you look at people like Gabi Otreda. And I mentioned his name just for the purpose of this discussion. In the run-up to the 2020 election, 2016 election, we all saw him. And the assumption was that he would get into office and then work with the government.
That's
He
right.
never did. But what major transaction has gone on in this country since then that his name has not been mentioned? He can always step aside and say, I'm a private individual,
In fact,
I'm a lawyer.
in fact, he
I'm
says
to
that.
the point where the media has even said he's a prime minister in disguise.
See-
You see, so these are the things that
You see,
we should be-
Gabi,
You see?
Mr. Otredaku says vehemently that he is not a member of the government.
Exactly.
He is not a public official.
Yes.
But he is a member of the party. Yet in PDS, he
That's
was
the point
there.
I'm making. Every
In
major
Agyapong
transaction,
deal, he was there. Mention it.
America.
Professor Frimpong Boateng's
every
interministerial
deal,
thing.
yes.
He got a call from
Yes.
Gabi to
And
say,
yes,
halt
yes,
what you are
yes.
doing. How?
And so
A private individual.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So what are you talking about?
That's the point I'm making. So if we are going to say that a public official or is somebody who is in government alone, then the money can be played around in all kinds of
You see,
places that we
he-
cannot. You
he-
can just come and say, look, I'm a lawyer. This is my private law firm. I'm just doing consultancy. The law allows me. But you see, beyond the law, you should look at the public interest.
You see,
That's
look
right.
at the national
You see,
interest.
That's right.
How are we using our money?
stricto sensu.
You know?
He is not a public official.
That's right.
In fact, when I broke this Kolebu CEO matter last week, I can tell you that I've had 4 people call me. 4. 2 lawyers, 2 others, right? One who belongs to the NDC and another who belongs to the MPP. What is the striking, variable is that all of them seem to either know the man or know somebody who knows the man who has made an appeal. And I said, like, I don't have a personal problem with the doctor. My interest is that I'm putting myself on that dialysis table. I'm going there now with the mind of paying 380 cedis, which has been approved by Parliament. Then I get there, I'm told to pay 765 Ghana cedis, 0.42 pesos. Now, that is more than 100% of the 380. I don't have that money. I have 2 options. I either will have to borrow money to supplement what I have, or I'll go home, not get the money, and possibly die. How many people have died through that kind of scenario? Because the lady I spoke with the first day said that when she took a sister there, in 2 days, the next person by them couldn't afford. She died, right? And then the doctor in Ashanti region has also told us that 2 out of 3 people who come for dialysis, they always die because they can't afford. So already what has been approved is even killing people. Then you go a step further to charge what has not been approved. And you don't even have the dignity to apologize. That's where the pain
For me, I saw the hypocrisy when they said we are investigating the leak of a notice. Do you know what a notice means? A notice.
You have endorsed it.
A notice where we saw it printed in 18 font, I'm
Yes.
sure.
No, it's more than 18.
More than 18, 26
Yes.
font and plastered on a door. You say we're going to investigate the leak of a notice. What is a notice?
Anyway, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll go to the Ashanti region. We'll speak to William Evans Income. He is a man on the ground. What are the guys at Swami Magazine and all those who sell spare parts saying? And we'll get into some conversation as well. William is still obsessed with public officers. We'll see you after the break. Say, well, they will resist the Ghana Revenue Authority. What's the situation in the Ashanti region? William Evans Inkum is our head of bureau for the Northern sector. He joins us now from Akuma FM and also on TV3 in the Ashanti region. Bill, good morning.
Good morning, Johnny.
In Accra, the traders are not happy with government. They say they will resist the Ghana Revenue Authority in this new scheme of trying to, as they say in a cantata one. What is the same situation in the Ashanti region? Is it the same?
Well, absolutely, it is the same. In fact, it is something that they've been drumming for the past 2 weeks. Last year, one of the things that compelled them to lock up some of their shops, was the fact that they think that they are not being treated fairly and hampering the progress of their trading activities as far as the Ashanti region is concerned. Of course, I've said that if you come to the Ashanti region, this is an informal-based economy. And that is also to say that about 75% of the working class belong to the informal sector. What it means is that they are solely either into sole proprietorship or people who own, their own businesses. That's just to break it down. So the lifeline of their livelihood centers around the growth of their businesses. So anything that will affect the growth of their businesses means invariably it will affect their livelihood. Of course, taxes, if they consider taxes to be very high, then of course they will have every cause to complain. If import duties, for example, is not something that is also inuring to their benefit, which will also affect their returns, it is something that they will also be worried about. And these are some of the things that they've been talking about. In fact, beyond the importation and the taxes that I have spoken about, they've also consistently complained that sometimes these custom officers will visit their shops and then they take them through some level of rigorous, check. And they see that kind of activities to be witch hunting. Johnny.
And this will go in a long way to paint a certain picture that the same Guta that marshaled resources to push the NPP, if you will, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia into power, have ditched them because of these challenges, correct?
Well, absolutely. As I'm talking to you now, some of the business guys who are known members of the NPP, of course, finance the party. They are struggling. Their businesses are struggling. And day in, day out, they are voicing out. Day in, day out, they are expressing their regret for supporting the party. And you see, what even makes it a bit tricky is the level of meaning that some of them are reading into it. Some are beginning to believe that maybe it's because of their tribe. That is why they are being treated the way they are being treated at the moment. And that is even more risky. The typical Ashantis believe that there's a target on their business. And if they are going to see their business collapse, or if that particular person who is targeting their business, maybe the intention is that to see their business collapse so that they will lose grip of the future of the NPP. Well, that is the perception, and it is also eating into the presidential primaries of the ruling New Patriotic Party.
So the Ashanti region particularly is the stronghold of the NPP. We've seen how things are playing out there. The Alan campaign, the Kennedy Agyapong campaign, and the Dr. Bawumia campaign. We'll look at the figures from 2016 and the 2020 elections, and you can see how the figures played around. If these noises, so to speak, are coming up now, it would have a greater impact on how the Ashanti region decides in the elections, correct?
You are not far from right. The fact of the matter is that you have mentioned figures. Go back to 2016. how the MPP performed, I mean, it was an outclass. It was a total political annihilation as far as nominal figures were concerned. Now, in 2020, I mean, there are a number of factors you talk about, internal and external factors. But in the midst of those factors, there are other, I mean, factors that you will, that stemmed from the fact that there were some level of, I mean, disaffection stemming from some people you call disgruntled members of the party. And these disgruntled members of the party, a good number of them are also financiers of the party. How did it affect the performance of the party in the 2020? Even in nominal figures, it wasn't something that you would say was good. But because Ashanti region, under the current dispensation, has shown some level of consistency in terms of loyalty to the MPP, and for the fact that even if they are not giving the MPP enough numbers, they will also not give the NDC that numbers. That is to say, they will not vote for the NDC, they will not vote for the MPP, they will stay out of the election. So people loyal to the NDC will turn up in their numbers and vote for the party. And that will see the NDC increasing, both in nominal figures and then in percentage-wise. Exactly what we saw in the 2020 elections. Now, are we seeing some level of a dip as far as interest in the MPP among the MPP members, or what they call the apparatchiks are concerned? In recent times, happenings within the MPP, I mean, have shown some of us that yes, indeed, figures and interest are plummeting. And if nothing is done about it, we are going to see what happened to the NDC, happen to the MPP in the Ashanti region, and it's going to be a shock. And it's not surprising that if you talk to the NDC, they are so confident that for the very first time, maybe since 1996, they are going to get an astronomical numbers in terms of nominal figures, and also in terms of percentage, that will change the political dynamics of the Ashanti region, being the stronghold of the party. So they are saying that they are targeting over 4 seats, which to them is very feasible. For the MPP, event in recent times, Johnny, I've told you, it's not favorable. Saturday was a total disaster. Kennedy Agyapong, a staunch member of the party, somebody who you can say has been following the party for decades. If you are talking about people, the movers and shakers of the MPP, you will not mention names without turning down the name Kennedy Agyapong. About 80 to 90% of his message to the Ashanti region did not necessarily focus on what he had or as a presidential warrant, what he wants to give the party, but what he deemed as unfair treatment to his former colleague, Alan Kwadwo. So about all the things that, almost everything that he said on it, almost every line in his address to the gathering touched on what, quote unquote, I mean, bad treatment to Alan Kwadwo, and even went ahead to say that anybody who thinks that Alan Kyerematen doesn't have a crowd, maybe in the MPP, maybe you'll be right, but when you talk about the typical Ashantis, they are likely to vote for Alan Kwadwo, and that means a lot to the MPP.
Right.
Because this morning I was making a submission on Akoma FM, and I said, Alan Kwadwo probably is moving out of the MPP with 2 groups of people. One, the core supporters who have supported him since 2007. He's moving out with them. And then, of course, other disgruntled members of the MPP who believe that they have not been treated fairly upon sacrifices, I mean, that they've made to the party, ensuring that the party comes to power. These people are also going to support Alan Kwadwo. And Kennedy Agyapong on Saturday confirmed that. So you see, so what is happening in the MPP currently, one from the Traders Front, and then from their own staunch party members, are not favorable to the party.
The shops are supposed to be closed this morning. Are you able to confirm if Gota has kept its word and closed the shops in protest against what the GRA now is doing in terms of revenue mobilization?
As I talk to you now, it is not like what we saw witnessed last year. They have threatened, but I'm unable to confirm to you whether they've carried out the threat. Because when I passed through a doom this morning, I saw most of the shops opened.
I see. Bill, I thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. We're grateful.
Thank you.
And William Evans Inkom is our Northern Bureau Chief. He is also on Akuma 87.9 FM in the Ashanti region. We will talk live to lead in a bit. And we will go also to the Volta region. You do know that the Keta area has water consistently there. And somebody sent me a distress message that each time we get water here, they bring us rice and oil. He says, Kosida Benda. That's the question he asked me. For how long will we continue receiving rice and oil? What happened to the Sea Defense War project? Stay with us. We'll be right back after these.
So closing down all the shops means we are serious and we are going to face GRA squarely. There is nowhere GRA can use intimidation, harassment, and threat making. Intimidation can never win any good dialogue. We are law-abiding citizens, but what we are saying is the way and manner they are conducting their business, the approach, asking people, officers to come and sit in our shops for what? That's what we are going to resist. We are going to stop them.
National executives of Guta and the Ashanti regional executives met with GRA top management, and we pointed out to them that the fact that we are enforcing our mandate outside the entry points is part and parcel of measures that we take, and they cannot say that we should stop. Of course, we also look at some of the concerns they had. Some are genuine. For instance, I have always asked why, if somebody is holding custom documents covering consignment that he has cleared from a port, when we suspect that he has not done the right thing and we are uploading them, it is done at the expense of the person who is doing it. I think that is not fair.
Every minute, every hour, every day, there is so much to talk about, from local news to international news, sports, entertainment, and business. Join me, Alfred Okansi, and the news team every weekday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Hot Edition. Be my guest as I bring to you factual, up-to-date news on happenings in our country, the West African sub-region, Africa, and the rest of the world. Hot Edition, hot, accurate, authentic. Your week is never complete without us. Make a date with me on 3FM 92.7. Your Urban Lifestyle Radio.
It's raining loads of cash all day on 3FM 92.7. With as little as 5 Ghana Cedi, play cash out. Win cool cash on the Sunrise Morning Show, 3FM Drive,